What's going on, my fellow nerds? OperatorOtter here. So the new Frozen Orb with the Fractured Winter Glass and Splintering aspect is looking pretty hot, I would say. So essentially what's happening is that it's using the new Fractured Winter Glass and all of its shenanigans with spawning conjurations and doing that. Yeah, it's pretty good. And the best thing about the build is that it's pretty easy to play. You do not need to really aim. Like, the build just kills stuff in front of you and you kind of just walk and it does this. This isn't like an absolute S plus tier at killing bosses, but it's pretty good at being able to kill bosses. Lots more surprising than I thought. It felt kind of just as strong as Firebolt, which is just really, really cool. Let's see if we can just kind of kill her here. Dunzo. Easy, right? So essentially what's happening is that Fractured Winter Glass states that your conjuration cooldowns are reduced by 0.4 seconds when Frozen Orb explodes. And you're going to combine that with the Frozen Orbit aspect, which is going to make it so that your Frozen Orbs are able to explode 2 additional times. And what that means is that every single time there's a Frozen Orb that goes out and explodes, it's going to reduce your conjuration cooldowns by about a second to a second and a half, depending on what roll you got there. But then as well, looking further into this, it's giving a bunch of Conjuration Mastery. And what is Conjuration Mastery doing for us? Well, Conjuration Mastery is making it so that not only do we just have this fat multiplier, because I was able to get out about 20 conjurations, that's 160% multiplier right there, but it's also able to give 160% movement speed. Now, obviously, you cap out at 200% and you start at 100. But what this does is that this caps out Isus without having to actually evade. Like, you just get the movement speed. And that means you're able to get 40% critical strike chance straight up. That's just what you're able to do. And I already have 63.1. So this build has a 100% crit rate, which is wild. And that really scales into the splintering because it says that critical hits with Lightning Spear cause lightning damage to arc from it. And this lightning damage is really significant. And if you're able to have like 8 lightning spears out, 8 and 10 lightning spears are just roaming around, this gets pretty nuts because each of those deal 3 million damage, like 1 to 3 mil. It really depends. The damage varies quite a bit, but it's like proccing a lot. I don't know exactly what's going on here. I'm gonna have to test this one out a lot more significantly, but wow, it is doing work, a lot of work. And so that's essentially what's going down with that. Obviously, when Frozen Orb explodes, it has a chance to spawn a conjuration, and lucky hit, your conjurations have a 70% chance to launch a Frozen Orb. So Frozen Orbs go out, spawn conjurations, conjurations go out, which spawn Frozen Orbs, which could spawn conjurations. Pretty sick. Every time those Frozen Orbs explode, it reduces the cooldown of your conjurations. You are able to just completely spam your conjurations, and you have a bunch of Conjuration Mastery, which supports the mana of the class, just spamming out Frozen Orb. It gives you max movement speed, which is able to actually just give you a bunch of crit. And then on top of that, it just gives you this fat multiplier. So yeah, that's basically what's going on there. Now, as for the actual build, I'm just going to have this right here. You guys can go ahead and look into it. Just kind of see what's going on with this. This is the exact Paragon that I was using. This is what I did to level up. And this is the skill tree that I was using. I do not use that. We use Veer's Mastery. Whew. I was using Asus because the idea with Asus Ferocity with that aspect was to be able to attack so fast that you get so many conjurations out that it does a lot of damage. But I found that with Veer's Mastery, the fact that you're taking 25% less damage and this wild charge thing, and you are critically striking with Lightning Spear a lot, causes this passive to kind of go wild. Definitely the most damage I was able to get out of the build. It was really, really good there. So that's just kind of what I was able to do there. Now, as forms of mana, the best way that I would say to solve the mana issues when you're actually starting to make this class, because when you get this class, you're going to have the Fractured Winter Glass and you might have Splintering, but if you need to solve your mana issues, because Frozen Orb's kind of mana hungry, what you can do is you can actually just run Frigid Breeze here. I know this lucky hit cold damage against vulnerable enemies has a small % chance, and then you look at Frozen Orb and you're like, it has a 4% lucky hit chance value. It shouldn't work. It does. Frozen Orb is dealing so much damage over a short amount of time. It does so many damages per frame, or I should say it does so a lot of damage with the amount of frames it does. I think it's like every 2 or 3 frames within the game, it actually does damage. So it has like 20 to 30 instances of damage per second. And you combine that with just the fact that you are casting so many Frozen Orbs, and it spawns actually quite a good amount of mana. What you can also do is just use Prodigy as your resource. And what this is, using a cooldown restores mana. And remember that your Fractured Winter Glass lowers the cooldown of your conjurations every single time they explode. So you have very low cooldowns on your conjurations, and that will support that. For defensives, I'm using the Snow Veiled right now, and the idea right here is that with Ice Armor, every time you spend 50 mana, it reduces Ice Armor's cooldown by 1 second. And when you use Ice Armor, you become unstoppable. And when you become unstoppable, you get bonus damage. And you also get mana. So if you're ever in a situation where, like, I don't have mana, which is very rare, but you can just pop either Ice Armor or Teleport, because both make you unstoppable, to give you this mana. And then that kind of lets your mana kind of kick in and do what it needs to do. So I kind of want to show the gameplay here in a Pit 100. You can go ahead and check it out on that one video that I posted here a couple hours ago. But I kind of want to see or show kind of like what it's doing just within the pit and kind of how it feels. All right, so the way that this build plays out is that you just spam out your conjurations and your frozen orb and move around, and things just kind of die. I don't really know what else to say. I mean, it's pretty simplistic. Other than the fact that you have to spam your conjurations and stuff, obviously, that can get a little stressful. Other than that, you don't have to aim at all. You just chill and just move through the dungeon, and things just kind of die. It's pretty awesome. Now, I will say this, the build is a bit squishy, so if I die here, forgive me. But it is a bit squishy. But the idea here is that Lightning Spear and Frozen Orb are just going to keep everything frozen. As you see, that was an elite affix, and we just killed it and we didn't even see it. So yeah, that's kind of what the build does. It's kind of entertaining. Yeah, those died too. Those were elites as well. So hopefully we have enough to actually kill this dungeon. But that's basically how it rolls. And it's one of the easier builds to play. It's really, really good in Infernal Hordes. Like, really, really good in Infernal Hordes. And you can get a lot of gold from Infernal Hordes. That's kind of how I was able to do my masterworking. Like, you just do the remainder of the gold. I'll leave my Discord chat in below, but I did make an announcement that actually shows like a chart of the theoretical amount of gold per hour you can get from the Infernal Hordes. So I might make a video about that. But it's pretty good. You can get like 180 million gold per hour just doing tier 5 hordes with 300 Aether per run, which is kind of mind-blowing. So that's pretty cool. Now, as this build progresses in terms of our understanding of it, right now this is kind of a hybrid build. It's using Frozen Orb and Lightning Spear to do damage, and I think that the final version of this build is going to lean into one way or the other. It's either going to do Lightning Spear or it's going to do Frozen Orb. This is just kind of this weird amalgamation of both. But we'll see what happens. I still don't have this build even nearly fully optimized. There's still a lot of potential with the build. So let's talk about the boss. As you come to the boss, make sure you're paying attention to the mechanics. So this is Blood Bishop. He's really tanky. So when the Echo comes out, this is the bouncy one, so we're kind of just waiting for that to happen. Now we can move in, use our Unstable Currents, and we just kind of stay still. Make sure that you kind of mix in the Unstoppable there. It's going to take 3 rotations to kill this boss, so we just really need to make sure not to get hit by the Bishop stuff here. We can go ahead and kill that. That's easy. He's about to stagger, and we just move, and we just hold. That's our Ice Armor again. Because we already have max movement speed, we don't need to evade. We just need to stay unstoppable. We'll wait for him to do his little tacky attack move. That's his one where he's like spamming out the stuff. We just sit here. If able to die. Call it. And that was like the tankiest boss too. So yeah, that's the build. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you liked the video, make sure to subscribe for future content. We will be doing a much more in-detailed guide as we move along with this, but hope to have you there. And then join Discord if you ever want to talk to anybody in Discord. I've got a bunch of Necro Theory crafters. It's a main Necro community, but I'm trying to build up the Sorc community now. Anyways, have yourselves a wonderful day. I got nothing else for you.